NCAA basketball totals for Sunday, where this is our segment where we look at 3 totals set by odds makers. We try to beat that line either over or under the total. Yesterday, bad day. We went 0-3 on our picks, and that happens. We've been running pretty well for almost 2 weeks, so we were kind of due for a pretty bad day. Actually, we were overdue for a bad day. So, we can't be perfect all the time, but we have a nice winning record on the season. We have over 100 wins versus about 80. Well, what are we right now? 102 and 86. So we're doing just fine. We want to increase that margin though as the season continues. So, we've been running pretty well. Bad day yesterday. We're going to bounce back today though. Hopefully, we're going to try to bounce back. That's for sure. We got 3 games on the card today for you new guys. This is our segment where we look at the totals set by odds makers. We try to beat that line either going over or under that total. We're going over on all our picks today, by the way. Also, don't forget we have our NBA segment as well, which goes off at 4 o'clock Eastern on our Facebook page, and that's been running pretty well too the last few days. So you definitely want to tune in and check that out. Unfortunately, because of the time, I don't want to say time constraint, but the difference of time that I'm on internationally, because I live in Japan, I'm going to miss probably a couple games there because we're doing the live segment though. But the live segment is so much better because we get a lot of feedback and, we can talk about games and stuff during that time. So tune into that. That's a really fun one to watch. And I enjoy doing it and getting feedback from you guys and going in and having some conversations. Been talking about some basketball. It's great. So don't forget our NBA segment. Like I just said, we have SBRpicks.com, sportsbook review, all the sign-up bonuses, blacklist, things like that. Check out. Let's jump into some totals. All right, so NCAA hoops. First one we got is St. Peter's and Rhode. Again, I'm going over on all these picks today. I'm going over the 129. Now, Rhode's been mostly, St. Peter's has mostly been an under team because they play really good defense and they don't go at a fast pace. Rhode is actually a bit better than last year. Now, this game is at Rhode. And I think it's going to go over that 129. I think they're going to get up and down. Now, they've been on and off as far as this particular total. But if we backtrack at least over the last couple years, since 2014, they haven't had a total this high. And back then, they had some different dynamics going where they had totals about 134, 139, stuff like that. But their last 4 totals, 121, 118, 122, 123, 123 and a half. And now all of a sudden they jumped up to 129. I think they go over this total. Rhode especially could score. St. Peter's can get up and down sometimes, but they mostly focus on their defense. Let's look at some of their stats here as to why. One of the main, first of all, that numbers play right there. The fact that they haven't set a total this high in quite a while, at least the last couple of years. But I like Rhode being at home because right now, Rhode, I think they're going to control the tempo. And right now, I digress. Rhode, right now, they're averaging 73.9 points per game. That's not bad at all. They're shooting 43% for the floor. That's not great, but they're averaging 62.8 field goal attempts per game. That ranks the top 30 in NCAA basketball, and they're allowing over 62 attempts. That ranks right now just outside the top 300 teams as far as tempo allowed, which means they allow a lot of tempo. And they're at home. St. Peter's, much more of a grind-out defensive team. Rhode is not, and again, I think they control the tempo. St. Peter's right now, they're averaging just 64 points per game, and they're giving up that much as well. They're not a great shooting team, and they go at a pretty slow pace. They do shoot the three decently well, though, at almost 34%, and they average getting up about 21 three-pointers per game, which ranks in about the middle of NCAA basketball. So, Rhode's not a great defensive team statistically across the board, but that 129 is a little bit too low. I think odds makers have it set there for a reason. I think they get over this total, although it might be tempting to back the under on this particular matchup. I think they get there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm back over the total with Rhode and St. Peter's over that 129. All right, next one we got up. UMass and Rhode Island. We're going to head into the Atlantic 10, 144.5 set by odds makers. And I think this gets up and down. So I'm going to go ahead, like I said, going to back over the total. Same trend, though, but this is even more so. It's at 144.5. We haven't seen a total that high set by odds makers between UMass and Rhode Island since 2012. Now, I've been going over this last week with NCAA and NBA. That's a pretty good trend, but it doesn't always hit. Like yesterday or 2 days ago, we had Boston and Atlanta where they hadn't had a total set as high as they've had since 2002. But we went under on it because although the trend told us to go the other way, the stats didn't really match up. But when the stats kind of match up, I say go for it. So we're back over the total on this. Again, we haven't seen a total this high from Rhode Island and UMass since 2012, and these two teams can get up. Now, this game's at Rhode Island. UMass is a little bit down this year, and I like for these guys to get up and down. Rhode Island can really score, and they do play some great D as well. However, you got UMass, they're averaging 73.6 points per game. Rhode Island, I got them here right now averaging about 75 points per game. That's solid. UMass gives up about 70 points per game. Rhode Island, much better, allowing just about 66 points per game. And statistically, they're good, but they're not great. They're not as locked down as they were last year. Last year, they were arguably the best defensive team in the Atlantic 10. If you look at their statistics, they were really solid. This year, though, they're allowing opponents to shoot over 42% overall, over 46% on their two-point shots, and about 32% for distance. All decent numbers, but outside of the top 50. As far as NCAA basketball statistics are concerned, still good. But UMass, right now they're shooting 54.2% of their two-point shots. That ranks in the top 40. They're a decent scoring team, and defensively, they're like Rhode Island. They're good, but they're not great. I mean, right now, decent numbers here is they're allowing opponents just 39% overall shooting. That's a pretty good number. However, they're allowing opponents to shoot over 32% from distance, and they're allowing a little bit too much tempo with opponents getting up just over 58 attempts per game. Rhode Island likes to get up and down, and so does UMass. So they're going to average around 60 attempts per game on both sides. Will they be able to score? I think so. Let's take one more look at their past few games here at some finals. So the last few times they've matched up, we've had a 67-62, a 68-50, a 61-56, and a 75-59, a 60-56, a 65-61, a 70-67, and then we have a 73-68. That's going back now almost to 2013. Then we have a 75-61, an 81-53, and then finally back in 2012 they would have got over the number that odds makers have set today at that 144.5 with an 89-83 final. And I'd have to double check to make sure that wasn't overtime. But right now we're talking the last 3 years, they have not gone over this total set by odds makers, yet odds makers have gone out with a 144.5 total. So I'm going over. This is a numbers play for me, and I'm going to go ahead and take a shot here on the over. I think that's the right way to go with this game. All right, last one up. We got Iowa Northwestern, and Iowa's so fast with Fran McCaffrey. We're going to go over this total. Like I've said, going over on all these. I already said that a million times. Sorry, guys. 151. Northwestern's a lot better this year. Chris Collins doing a nice job. But Fran McCaffrey, Iowa, we know they're going to go fast. And again, now we got even a more interesting number. That 151, that's the highest total I have ever between Northwestern and Iowa. They had a 145.5 back in 2012. Then I got stats all the way back to 98. So for the past 18 years, I know I could do the math faster. The past 18 years, we've never seen a total this high. Both these teams can get up and down. Both of them can score. I really don't need to get in the stats that much. Northwestern's been a really good scoring team. Let's get just some real generic stats here. Right now, we got Northwestern. They're averaging almost 75 points per game. Iowa, 83 points per game. They're both allowing tempo. Northwestern's been pretty good defensively, but Iowa gets up and down so much that I think odds makers have this one right at 151. Iowa, big win just the other day at home versus a good Purdue team. So look for this to get up and down again. A number you would think, over since 98, maybe a more reasonable number set by odds makers might be 147, 148. When you look at the stats here, because Northwestern is a decent defensive team and they're at home, but they went out and set a big number, and I think they did it for a reason. Same thing with that UMass Rhode Island game. So I'm going to go ahead and back over the total. All right, let's wrap this up. Quick wrap up. We got St. Riders. Woo! Sorry, guys. It's been a long day for me. Here we go. St. Peter's and Ryder over the 129. Massachusetts and Rhode Island over the 144.5. And finally, Iowa, Northwestern over the 151. Again, bad day yesterday, so hopefully we'll bounce back today. And I wish you guys luck on your picks today.
Do your research before you bet. Check out our ratings guide to see which books have the best ratings and sign-up bonuses. Open up several accounts and shop for lines at sbrodds.com. Always be ahead of the game.